Hi, and welcome back to Where to Begin Homestead. Today we are making a jelly for the collaboration that Tony at Kettle Kitchen and Pam at Blue Self-Reliance are putting on all month of June. So be sure to check out the playlist that I will put down below, and I will also put the recipe down below, so don't forget to check all that out. So the collaboration's name is right here, Jamming Up June 2.0. They invited us to make a jam, a jelly, conserve, marmalade, whichever we chose. So we graciously accepted and have decided to make apple jelly with no added pectin. So first off, our apples are Granny Smith. Sorry, the cat did that. Our apples are Granny Smith and Mcintosh. We have about 6 pounds of apples here. And first off, we have to make the juice. So I'm going to cut all these up, leaving the skins on and the cores in them. I usually make apple scrap jelly, which is just using the cores and the peels, but I thought, well, we'll just use the whole apple this time and see how it goes. So first off, you gotta cut them up and make the juice. The last apple, and I've been using my slicer because it's so much easier. And that is done. All uniform pieces. Put them in the stock pot with all the rest of them. We're going to add some water to this and get the juice going. I'm adding 1 quart of water. I'm going to let this simmer to get all the juice out of the apples, and I'm going to let it simmer on high. Not sure how long yet, until the apples are tender. And I went ahead and put my cover on to let it get to temperature quicker. Now I'm going to clean up my mess. Okay, it took about 20 minutes for the apples to start breaking down. And now I'm turning it on a simmer. Sorry about the fog. Turning it on a simmer and letting these just simmer for another 20-25 minutes, just trying to extract as much juice out of those apples that we possibly can. Now this is 6 pounds of apples, keep in mind, and it's already formed a great deal of juice, as you can see down there. But make sure all your apples are off the sides and cover it back up and let it simmer away for about 20-25 minutes. Meanwhile, I've cleaned my sink from slicing the apples. I have washed all the dishes. I also took the liberty of getting the next step ready. After the apples are done, I'm going to need a bowl, a jelly strainer, and the jelly bag. And this is my handy dandy little sifter. But the jelly strainer set, it looks like this in the package. And that's exactly what you do. You'll put the apples in there and let them strain into this bowl to get all that juice out of there. This process of making apple jelly with no pectin takes a little bit of time because you have to render the juice and then make your jelly, but it's so worth it. But if you have to use the pectin, because some fruits don't have enough natural pectin in them, always keep some on hand because you'll never know when you're going to need it. I always keep a bulk of it on hand. That way it is ready for when I need it and I have the fruits to jam or jelly it up. And we're back. And it looks like our juice is ready. So we're going to go ahead and prep our area to strain it. And right here you'll see the jelly strainer base, and this is the jelly bag, which I always rinse before using. It's really not going to add a whole lot of water to the juice. So we go ahead and rinse it and put it on the strainer here. And make sure you tighten it. Next, we will put this on our bowl. And now we are ready and with this, you want to be very careful as to transfer this to here. Okay, for the sake of time, I went ahead and added some of the rendered down apple pulp in here and had it strained in the jelly strainer. And this is the juice down here that we will be using for our jelly. Now I'm going to take some cheesecloth, and it comes into a thing like this. I cut a portion of it off, and I have it double layered here. And by double layered, I just mean folded over. And I'm going to fold it once more to make sure that really strains just the best we can get it. Now when you're making jelly, you don't want to take a thing and pat it down, because you want that juice as clear as you can possibly get it. So now I'm going to take the pulp and put it into my new bowl and just strain it one more time. And this, however, I probably will now my hands, make sure your hands are clean. Wash your hands, of course. Always practice safe recipes. Now this is on there, so I'm going to take it off. Wash my hands again, because it's all goopy. And I'll show you the next step. Okay, I'm just going to set this to the side. We'll use that in a little bit. And I'll show you how I just took the pulp out and put it in the strainer little by little and just let it strain itself. Make sure you get all that goodness out of your pan. It's an awfully big pan, so I'm going to try my best to hold it up here without knocking anything down. Alright, got that pretty clean. Set that aside and it'll be in the next thing to wash. Here you can see the juice draining into, that is pure apple juice. Let that strain for a little longer and we'll get busy making our jelly. And like I said before, that if you want the clearest jelly possible when using apples, do not press it down in the bag. If you press it, more of the pulp can go into the juice, and you don't want that. You're wanting to make a jelly. So we are just aiming for pure juice in this recipe. And as soon as this gets done straining, we will get busy on our apple jelly. As for my apple pulp here, I've decided to get a ribbon, tie this up and let it drain more. So we're just going to hang this and let it drip. While I'm waiting for my apple juice to strain, I went and took the liberty of washing the pan that we just used so that I can add hot water to this, get it on the stove, and get my jars warming up. You always want to be safe about canning and do things so that you and your family stay healthy and can avoid any sickness that you possibly can. Now we got our juice strained, our jars washed, our canning water heating, and our jar water heating. We'll put our jars in this pot. Because my water is hard, I do not can in the same water that I heat the jars up in. So, see that? Yeah. We add vinegar to the waters, but the water will make the jars turn white, cloudy looking if you do it in the same pot. I have tried, I have failed by putting it, warming the jars in the same pot. So this is why I do it. It's just a little safer for me, that I believe. Let's move on to what we're going to need. We're also going to need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice when we mix our 4 cups of apple juice with 3 cups of sugar. And because we're not using pectin, we can use less sugar, and that is always a good thing. We're going to, of course, need our funnel and our measuring cups and our candy thermometer. Like I said, because we're not using pectin, we will need the candy thermometer so we know exactly the temperature that will be at a jelly stage. This is our tablespoon, a mat or a 4 jars towel. Speaking of 4 jars, we're also going to be using our 4 jars lids. And They're a great company. I love the jar lids. They do great. I have a strainer in case there is foam in the top, and my mixing spoon. I am using a recipe out of my blue ball book that I've had for many years, as you can tell, and I've used it a lot. So the recipe is exactly the same as the recipe that I found from 1965. As you can see, I had to take my canner off the stove because our kitchen is so small, but that's okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and get 4 cups of this juice out. And this is how I'm going to do this, so we don't waste nothing. So 4 cups of our juice, and this is a 2-cup measuring cup with a clean ladle. And this is going to be very thick because it already has that pectin in there, and we are using that pectin. Oops. Man, I hate making a mess after doing all that hard work. So there's 2 cups. There's our 4 cups. Transfer this back onto here so we don't waste none of that great juice. We now want to add our 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and I am here using, of course, 100% fresh lemons. So let me go ahead and get that squeezed out. Sorry if you hear a bunch of ruckus in the background. The cats are playing. It's their playtime. And it's hard to stop them. Still hear juice dripping. So we're just going to run this through a single piece of cheesecloth because I don't want seeds or pulp in my lemon juice. So, alright. And then we'll just wash this for later. So 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. 1, 2. Set that aside. Next we're adding the 3 cups of sugar. And we're going to stir this until it dissolves. This is what it looks like. You want to stir this until all that sugar dissolves. Pretty thick now. And the sugar is dissolving rather quickly. As you can tell, it's getting clearer. Now I'm going to pop my jars back down in there to keep those hot. It says it's going to take about 3 or 4, but I'll just do some extra ones and a little one so I can have it in the morning. That there, turn that off. I'm going to take this off the burner and set it over here because this is going to stay hot, tremendously hot. for a good long time. Let that rattle there. See how this is going. We're good on this. I want to wipe my countertop off here because that's driving me nuts. Had some lemon juice on there. If you have a candy thermometer, you will see on it the temperatures of everything. And what you want is the jelly stage, and it's 220. So we're gonna pop this in the pan here, and we're going to stir it until we get to 220. And it could take some time. We don't want it sitting on the bottom of the pan. But it's already up to 125. You're just going to stir constantly because you don't want that jelly to burn after all your hard work. So 220, and in my ball book it says that you want to constantly stir it until it reaches 8 degrees above boiling water, which we all know that 212 is boiling water point, and 8 above that is 220, so easy. Oh, that's better. Turn that off. So we're already up to 150. At a certain point, it's going to take a little longer to get to the point where you really want it at. Here is our jelly in the making, and it is at 150, a little above, almost there. Not far behind it. I'm going to go ahead and get my canner on the stove, getting that heated up again, and getting my lids heated. Also going to put some vinegar in a small bowl to wipe my rims off with, because jelly is very sticky and you really want to wipe them off with a good cleaning solution. Little tip while we are waiting on our jelly to come to the temperature: I take a small bowl and dip it in that water, and that is what I will put my lids into, because I like to have them hot. And I just use the water. As you can see, it is gathering a little bit of foam, but we are almost to 200, and it won't be long. That little bit of foam we can just skim off, because we are making jelly the old-fashioned way. Okay. It is at 220. We're going to go ahead and can our jam. Go ahead and get a jar here. We'll get a few. Recipe says it would take 4. But you never know. There is a bit of foam on it, so I'm going ahead and there's a bit of foam on it, not much, just a tad. And go ahead and get that off. But that's not bad at all. I did have to stop stirring a couple times so I could get other things ready. Okay, now we can go ahead and jar this up. With a 1/4 inch headspace. And 1/4 inch is right at the bottom of my, there we go. Little tippy. Go ahead and put this jelly in this little one so I can enjoy this in the morning. And some toast. I'm not going to can it, so now there is a little bit more foam, so I'm going to take my spoon here and get that off and make a mess. Maybe a smaller spoon. It just helps with the color of it, getting the foam off. If you wait until it cures a little bit and dries, it's a little easier to get off all at one chunk. It just makes for a prettier jelly without it. And this jelly is already sitting up, so I'm going to have to leave that one. Now for the wiping of the rims. Take some vinegar water and really get this wiped down because that is super sticky. Then we're going to go ahead and get a lid without touching. Put that on there. And like I said, fingertip tight. Plop that down in there. Continue. Make sure you get all that jelly off. Continue the process until your jars are all in there. Look how pretty that is. Now we're going to process these for 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. Need to add a little bit more water to it, which is fine because I have it right here with these extra jars and it's already hot. As soon as that comes back up to a boil, we're going to start our timer, which shouldn't take but a minute. So until then, I will clean up my mess. Got it all over me, but that's okay. This is the jelly, and tomorrow I will make pressed jelly out of the apples that we just did up. It won't be as clear as this one will be, but it'll still be good. So don't discard that, what you have left over, because you can always use it one more time. Okay, canner's boiling. 5 minutes. There we go. Here is our it off, open it up, let it sit for a minute. Alright. Look at that. I'm going to set them all over here. That's the clearest apple jelly I've ever made, I think. Except for this one jar where the foam wouldn't come off. Man didn't want to come out. Alright. Y'all, almost looks like honey. Wait till the morning. Now this one here had a little bit of foam, so you'll know what it looks like if it does have foam in it. It's not bad. We'll just eat that one second. Okay, it's the next day and all of our jars sealed. Now, look how beautiful that is. Took the ring off of our jars to show you how nice and thick and set up it is. And this is without pectin. So yes, you can make apple jelly without pectin. Look how pretty. It looks like honey. 3 ingredients. We got apples, sugar, and a little bit of lemon juice. And there you go. Y'all enjoy. Also, thanks for watching, and y'all come back.